Hi guys, so this is Shalini and I'm back to you with another video, and today I'm going to do this video on AVNRT, which when expanded is atrioventricular nodal reentrant tachycardia. It is not a very common topic, but it is very important as far as tachyarrhythmias are concerned. So if you like this video and the content, kindly like, share and subscribe. Also let me know your valuable comments in the comment box. So as I have already told you even in the videos before, I'm just going to explain the mechanism or the conduction system of the heart. So this is SA node which sends an impulse which contracts both the atria and lets down the impulse to the AV node, which then transmits the impulse to the bundle of His and then the Purkinje fibers. So when the SA node generates an impulse, it helps to contract both the atria, and when it is transmitted onto the Purkinje fibers and the bundle of His, what happens is ventricles are depolarized or contracted and later on relaxed in the process of the conduction system. So this is in case of a normal heart. In case of atrioventricular reentrant tachycardia, which is a form of supraventricular tachycardia. So what does the word mean, supraventricular tachycardia? It means supra means above. So above the ventricle, tachycardia means fast heart rate. So above the ventricles, this is the ventricles, these are the atria. So above the ventricle, you will have fast heart rate, that is supraventricular tachycardia. So atrioventricular reentrant tachycardia is what we are going to see. Now, if you look at these three pictures, that is panel A, panel B and panel C, I'm going to explain what happens at the AV nodal level. So the whole condition, that is AVNRT, is something related to AV node. So if you see in this picture, you have a blue AV node is what is expanded into these three panels. So what happens in a normal heart rate? The impulse is generated from the SA node which comes to the AV node. Now this circle, let's assume, is the AV node. Now when it comes to the AV node, there is a fast pathway and there is a slow pathway. So the impulse comes down the fast pathway and the same impulse is also led down through the slow pathway. The impulse that comes through the fast pathway, after it reaches the distal end, tries to enter into the slow pathway which collides there and then it is nullified. And the remnant of the impulse reaches the ventricles which contracts the ventricles. So this happens in a normal heartbeat. When there is a premature beat, like there is a beat not from the SA node, suppose from any ectopic foci, or there is a sudden beat which comes to the AV node earlier than expected, what will happen is given in panel B. Before I go to panel B, I'd like to explain to you what is slow pathway and fast pathway. So slow pathway, it transmits the impulse slowly, which is called a slow conduction, and it has got a fast refractory period. Wherein fast pathway, it transmits the impulse fast, but it has got a slow refractory period. Now what does the word refractory period mean? What happens is, when there is an impulse B that comes here, for example, there is an impulse A that has come and it is gone, and there is a premature beat and that also comes. In the slow pathway, what happens is the cells or the fibers there are refractory and are responsive. They immediately respond to the next impulse also because they've got a very fast refractory period. Wherein in fast pathway, what happens? It's a slow refractory period. So what happens is when the second impulse comes, it does not respond quickly. The cells or the fibers are still in the state of excitement and they don't respond quickly. So it has got a refractory period. So the second impulse will have to wait for a while, something like that. So let's look at panel B now. Now panel B has got a premature beat which comes here. Now because fast pathway has got a very slow refractory period, so this remains unresponsive. This doesn't conduct the beat. So the slow pathway takes up the responsibility of conducting the whole beat. So through the slow pathway, the impulse is transmitted. It comes down to the distal end of the AV node. That means from here it has come to the distal end. Now when it reaches the distal end, it tries to get back through the fast pathway. In case of a AV nodal reentrant tachycardia, what happens is the impulse comes, a premature beat is coming, and it is not conducted through the fast pathway because it is slow refractory. So it is not conducting this side at all, and it is getting conducted through the slow pathway. It comes down through the distal end and it goes back through the fast pathway. So by this time, this area starts to become it becomes responsive to the impulse. So the impulse comes all the way through the slow pathway, tries to get back. Now it is becoming responsive and it tries to get back and it tries to create a circuit. So there is a complete whole circle. A circuit is created. Now this impulse which is come from the atrium goes back to the atrium and it again contracts the atrium. So there is some amount which is led down to the ventricles also, but then there is a circuit that is created. So that is what happens in AV nodal reentrant tachycardia. Now, if you look at this picture, there is an impulse that keeps circulating around the AV node. So, there is a particular impulse A which is generated from the SA node, and then it gets down and it contracts the whole system. There is another premature beat that comes and it circulates around the AV node. It also gets some amount of it which gets down. So there is continuously one circuit, one rhythm which is going around the AV node, and hence it is called as atrioventricular nodal reentrant tachycardia. Atrioventricular nodal means AV node. Reentrant means it re-enters back to the atrium, creating a circuit, and tachycardia is fast heart rate. So in the slides to come, whenever I say antegrade, it means atria to the ventricles from up to down. Whenever I say retrograde, it means back from the ventricles to the atria. Now let's look into the types of AVNRT. Types of AVNRT. The first type is typical AVNRT, that is a slow fast pathway. Now what happens is, in a typical AVNRT, the premature beat comes, the fast pathway remains unresponsive, so the impulse has to go through the slow pathway and it gets back, comes down through the slow pathway and gets back through the fast pathway. That is a typical AVNRT. That means antegrade, the impulse, from the atrium to the ventricle, the impulse is led down through the slow pathway, and retrograde, the impulse is led down from the ventricle to the atria. Retrograde is through the fast pathway. That is a typical kind of AVNRT that I was trying to explain to you all this while. Is the same. It is called as typical AVNRT. Now in a ECG, how do you identify a typical AVNRT? You will not see a P wave. It is always hidden inside the QRS complex. So you won't see a P wave, or you see a P wave after the QRS complex. So this is the QRS complex. After the QRS complex, you see a P wave, which is also called as a pseudo S wave, because this is actually the place where you should ideally have a S wave. So because the P wave comes after the QRS complex, it is called a pseudo S wave. R waves are usually positively deflected, but in this particular picture, if you see, it is negatively deflected, and the P wave is after the QRS complex and it is called as pseudo R wave. Ideally, it's supposed to be positively deflected, the R wave, but it is a P wave after the QRS complex that is positively deflected, and hence it is called as a pseudo R wave. The pseudo S wave is usually seen in lead 2 and the pseudo R wave is seen in lead 1. So these are the ECG changes you will see in a typical AVNRT. Now let's see what is the next type. Next we have the atypical AVNRT. So from the atrium to the ventricle, so its fast is through antegrade and slow is through retrograde. That means the impulse comes down through the fast pathway and it goes back through the slow pathway. So it is also called as fast slow AVNRT. It's just the opposite. So what are the ECG changes you see? You see a negatively deflected P wave. So P wave actually should be positively deflected. In this particular picture, if you see the P wave occurs before the QRS complexes, but it is usually negatively deflected. So the first one I was trying to tell you was typical AVNRT, which is seen in 90% of the cases. This is fast slow pathway, which is just the vice versa of the first one. It is seen in 10% of the cases. Now you have very atypical AVNRT, which is very in least percentage of the cases, even less than 1% of the cases. That is, the impulse will come down through the slow pathway, get back through the slow pathway. That means the fast pathway remains unresponsive through the time. So it is a very atypical AVNRT, which is slow pathway. That means both the pathways, antegrade as well as the retrograde. The impulse comes down from the atria to the ventricles and the ventricles to the atria, both through the slow pathway. So what happens? Your P wave is seen on the ST segment. You don't see a P wave in the beginning. You see a QRS complex. From the S, this is the T wave. So on the ST segment, you see a negatively deflected P wave. So that is a very typical AVNRT. That's how you see very typical AVNRT. Now, when you have AVNRT, what is the treatment, or what are the treatment modalities that is available to treat such patients with AVNRT? So this is also a kind of tachyarrhythmias, which is predominantly an atrial tachyarrhythmia. It is classified under atrial tachyarrhythmia, and it is a kind of tachycardia which has got a re-entry circuit. That means it tries to establish a re-entry circuit along the AV node. So that is the whole concept in AVNRT. What are the treatment is also, I have put it in some 5 points which will help you to understand the whole gist. So first thing you can do is a carotid massage. So carotid massage of Valsalva maneuver is for the first procedure. Carotid massage is a very simple procedure where the healthcare personnel would try to massage the bundle of nerves around your carotid artery. So this is where the carotid artery is believed to be. In layman terms, let me say it is somewhere in the neck, just below your jaw. So the personnel would try to massage it for a period of 5 to 10 seconds. So you don't give a pressure which will occlude the carotid artery and lead to hypoxia. You just massage that particular area for 5 to 10 seconds, and the patient is asked to turn his head to the opposite side. So if it is the right side that you want to massage, you will ask the patient to turn his head to the left side. So this is a very famous treatment that we have, that is carotid massage, which will help to terminate the kind of arrhythmias that the patient has. So that is the first thing. The second thing is drugs. We give them adenosine 5 mg IV, Verapamil is also given 5 to 10 mg. Diltiazem is another drug you can give 0.5 mg IV per kg IV. Another treatment as such, or the treatment of choice, I would say, is cardioversion. Now cardioversion is also done where you have electric current which is led through these paddles. So you have paddles which will discharge electric current, and this electric current will terminate the arrhythmias and will let the AV-SA node to generate a normal impulse. So cardioversion is another treatment of choice which is usually combined with CPR. So after cardioversion you will have to give CPR. So you give a synchronized cardioversion. That's another treatment of choice. Another long term, so all of this can be done for acute patients, but on a long term basis you can think of therapeutic ablation. So what happens in a therapeutic ablation is through your inferior vena cava. So this is your inferior vena cava, you have the superior vena cava. So from your inferior vena cava you will thread a diagnostic catheter which will reach your right atrium, and it will destroy the particular area which generates an ectopic impulse. So from, if the impulse is generated not from the SA node, from somewhere near the SA node, or it is generated from the left atrium, somewhere in the sleeve of the pulmonary vein. So what will happen is you thread a catheter inside and you will try to therapeutically ablate or therapeutically destroy that particular area, so that once the area is destroyed, you are sure that there is no premature beats or ectopic beats that is formed. Then you let the SA node to take charge over and generate normal impulses. So this is also one treatment that you can think on a long term basis. Otherwise, beta blockers, calcium channel blockers are also given to patients on long term basis to make sure that the heart rate is under control. So I hope today's video was helpful for each of you. So if you like the channel, please do subscribe it, and also let me know your topic of interest, your doubts, your comments and clarifications as well. Otherwise, thank you and have a great day.